there, you skippity rizzlers.
Yep, I'm keeping that promise. Anyways, yes, I'm doing another Bloxels Lost Media video. I don't know, it just kind of felt like it. So, since I uploaded the compilation of unidentified Block Party featured games, first off, I managed to identify games 12 and 13, so that's cool. But more importantly, I came across an interesting Bloxels topic that is actually really historical to Bloxels Builder. But not only that, also has a decent amount of mystery behind it as well. And this topic is none other than kids as video game makers, aka KVGM. KVGM was an official competition that was hosted by Bloxels themselves 2 different times, in 2016 and in 2017. Each one of these games would have thousands of entries and would end up resulting in 10 finalists each before the winners were announced. Of course, each of these games would get lots of time as well as every single other Bloxels game released online, but these games to me are providing even more intrigue since these are literal award-winning games. So I invite you all to take a sit back and relax as I take you through a journey to figure out what from KVGM has survived. Toward the beginning of 2016, the first KVGM contest would be hosted. Between February 18th and March 7th, anyone between the ages of 0 and 14 could submit a game to be judged and the potential to win a trip to the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, as well as a hefty prize of $250. While I can't find an exact number on how many people actually submitted games, I'm sure it's at least 1,000. There would be 3 winners across 3 different age groups, 6 and under, 7 to 10, and 11 to 14, and each of them would have their games playable at the GDC. In the end, 10 games would shine above all the others. Footage of each of these 10 games would be compiled into a video that might have been uploaded to YouTube at some point, but there's no evidence of it, but was for sure on Vimeo, which we know for a fact because the video is fortunately still accessible to this day. For the 6 and under category, there would only be 1 game, Baby Rush by Famous R. There would be a total of 3 games in the 7 to 10 category, Galactic Hunter 2 by Alpha Jared, Bali and the Strange Zombies by Cookie Adventures, and The Great Candy Adventure by Totally Pixeled. Lastly, 6 games would be in the 11 to 14 category, Technoplanet by Dirksen Boys, The Great Amazon Adventure by Matteo98, Ramsey Pride by Nick1285, Candyland by 22B Howard, Eagle Mountain by Wolf9to1337, and Shipwreck by Codebrain. The overall winner in each of these categories was, respectively, in 6 and under category, obviously Baby Rush by Famous R, in the 7 to 10 category, Galactic Hunter by Alpha Jared, and 11 to 14, Technoplanet by Dirksen Boys. These 3 games would have their games showcased at the GDC, and their creators would get the $250 as well as the trip to the Game Developers Conference. So what happened to the games after this point? Well, obviously they would become unplayable due to the fact that the server shut down, so you can't play any of these games. Fortunately, all 10 finalist games do have surviving footage, at least 30 seconds each, because of the aforementioned Vimeo video. The winning games also each had a little poster showing a map of part of their game, but the game that was undoubtedly the luckiest out of all of these games was Galactic Hunter 2. The creator Jared was interviewed in Block Party episode 20, which also showed even more footage of the game, and also seems that for some reason Jared was actually able to return to the GDC the following year in 2017. I don't know why exactly, but he just was able to. The fact that the game is called Galactic Hunter 2 does hint at the existence of a Galactic Hunter 1, but that's beside the point. In general, aside from the games themselves still being lost, KVGD 2016 was generally pretty well documented. It would be nice to get some extended footage of these games at some point, but overall there isn't really a whole lot of mystery surrounding KVGD 2016, unlike the following year. KVGM 2017 is extremely confusing in general. Finding any information about it isn't too hard, like just searching up Bloxels KVGM can very easily get you some stuff about KVGM 2017. KVGM 2017 was first announced on December 16th, 2016. Unfortunately, the actual blog post article just links back to the official KVGM 2017 website, which doesn't really seem too bad until you realize that there hasn't really been much saved from the website itself. Every single snapshot on the Wayback Machine only shows the actual registration document and doesn't provide any other information. From what I can gather, the winner was decided by March 1st, which was apparently when the announcement happened. It appears there's apparently a live stream when this happened, but I have not been able to find anything from it anywhere. A few of the other details that I think I can try to make out based off what I could actually find. This KVGM actually had a theme, Build Your Future, aka it's about the future, and it's relatively broad from there, but following that category. Also, if you were at the very least one of the finalists, it could have applied to everybody, but I'm not sure. But the finalists also had their own box art made for them, presumably by the creators of the games themselves. A lot of the other details do seem to be the same. Once again, if you won, you got to take a trip to the Game Developers Conference, and your game was playable there. Unlike the previous year, there wasn't actually any sort of age group categories, and it was all just lumped in, and there would be a very specific third, second, and first place winners. Anyways, on March 9th of 2017, the winners were announced. In third place, Compicide by Flu Crew. In second place, What Is Your Move by Me1234. And the grand prize winner was Iggy the Coder by Kai 13-Bit Builder. The latter game would have its own article written about the creator himself, both about him finding out that he won, to him going to the conference, to him wanting to be a Nintendo developer. It's a nice read, I actually recommend it. So what has actually survived of all 10 finalist games, as well as the top 3? Well, this is the part where the video gets interesting, since not much. As of the day I am recording this audio, I have found footage for a total of 2 games out of these 10 finalists. The first of these games is Amalgamate by Jew Games, which was one of the finalists. This game actually has 2 different playthroughs, one on the Blog Party channel, and a different one by YouTuber Chris Lee. His upload is the one that actually gives information that says that yeah, this is a KVGM finalist. The other game to have footage is the second place runner-up, What Is Your Move by Me1234. The surviving footage was also done by Chris Lee in a playthrough video. Neither game is playable, but both games are fortunately very lucky to have any footage at all. We don't know if any of the 8 other games have any footage surviving at all. Let's take a look back at the top 3 winners for a second. Obviously, What Is Your Move has surviving footage, but somehow I have not found any for both Comp SEI and Iggy the Coder. In the case of both of these games, a few visuals and information on either of these games can be found in 2 different articles on the Bloxels Builder blog. The first is the article that actually announces the winners themselves. Each of the 3 winners has 1 high quality screenshot, as well as a little bit of what happens in the games themselves. In the case of CompSci, it says about the game, learn the ins and outs of the different facets of computer programming like C++, Python, and Scratch, as you trek your way through this new age approach to computer sci, aka CompSci. The backgrounds and art in this game are incredible. Fight off hackers and computer viruses as you collect batteries to charge your computer and have enough juice to make it through to the very end, if you can. For What Is Your Move, it says, this maze of a game is insanely tough to find your way through. At the beginning, make your way through school and avoid the bullies. Then use your shrink potion to find your way through a maze. Watch your step everywhere you go. And be sure you check out every possible hint you get to make your way to the end. And these enemies have some serious brains on them, so beware. And yeah, the footage checks out. Lastly, for Iggy the Coder, it says Iggy wakes up late for work and has to maneuver his way through the streets as he fights off wacky fire hydrants and angry dogs. His adventure takes you through the clouds to go up against angry rain clouds as he detour road construction. Once you find yourself at the office, you have to help your coworkers fight a computer virus by collecting the antivirus and defeating red and blue viruses. Talk to everyone, and don't forget your shrinking potion with this one. The article would also link the games themselves, but said links aren't playable, obviously. That's basically it from information on this article. The other article that has a decent amount of information, though, is A Day in the Life of Kai the Coder. The article itself doesn't actually provide any other information about any of the games themselves, but the images in the article do shine a little bit more light. Let's take this image right here for example. This image shows the only other full still of the game that's available, as well as a decently high quality image of the map that shows part of the game. Yes, all three winner games have one of these maps. A second image slightly earlier on in the article also shows this map, but it has a little bit less window glare, but obviously it isn't as in great quality in general. This image also shows another partial snippet of the game, but it is mostly covered so you can't really tell what's going on, but it is very clearly nothing else that you can see in any of the other images of the game. Let's take a look at this other image from the article. Once again, another partial still of Iggy the Coder is visible here. This one isn't as interesting since it's just another background from a different still, but let's move on. This image actually provides a little bit more information about Comp SCI actually. There's another still, but it is very low quality and really hard to figure out what's going on here. But there is a decently good image of the map, however. So some new general information can be found here. There's one last image that I want to talk about, and it's the image at the very top of the article. In the image, you can actually see some of the boxes with the game's box art, whether it be some of the games that made it to the top 3 or other finalist games. The box art for Iggy the Coder seems to include some basic crayon/marker visuals. It doesn't really do a whole lot, aside from getting us a bit more of understanding about what some of the later areas of the game are like. Palm-sized box is a little bit more interesting. It seems that it is based directly off of visuals from the game itself, as it's a bit more pixelated. On here you can see some of the game's renditions of some of the logos for coding languages as well as Scratch, as well as some of the few visuals of enemies in this game. So what about these other 3 boxes? Well, these games, I'm not entirely sure what games they are actually. The visuals for the boxes as well as the coordinates on them don't fit in with either What Is Your Move or Amalgamate. For the box that we can't see the coordinates for, it very clearly says the name on the side, Deep Dark Depths. This last image brings up the last bit of mystery surrounding KVGM 2017. What are the other finalist games? We know what one of them is for sure, Amalgamate, but we don't know any of the others for sure. We know the name for one of them, that being Deep Dark Depths, but we don't know the creator nor the coordinates of the game, nor do we have any actual visuals directly from the game. The games that we do know the coordinates of, we have no actual name for them, so I am nicknaming these 2 games Red Black Suit Man and Rocket Game respectively. This leaves us with 3 other games that we have absolutely no information about them at all. Well, probably. I can't find an exact number on how many finalists there actually were. It could have only been 7, and maybe could have been 20 or something, 15. Who knows? I'm going with 10 personally since that seems most reasonable, and it also was the number from last year, so... While we don't know what these 3 games are for sure, there are a few theories I have on what they could be. I have a pretty good feeling that one of these games is actually Block Party Unidentified Featured Game number 25. It's very clearly about a girl trying to figure out what the heck she's gonna do for a job in the future, and I feel like this would fit perfectly among these other finalist games. There are also some other spacey/futuristic games that I think could also be among these, such as Block Party Unnamed Game 1, Space Exploration by Caleb, or Oracle by Shradox Jamie, which was another game that was featured on Block Party and Creator Interviewed. I'm less confident on those 3, but they could be it. I don't know. This is the extent of all the information I can find on KVGM 2017 at the moment. I'm sure more can be found at some point, but I'm definitely gonna need both more people to help me as well as more time to search. But after the results of unidentified games 12 and 13, anything is possible. Well guys, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, as well as check out some of my other content. I have other content planned in the future, whether it be Bloxels, Lost Wave, random music stuff. Anyways, so long, and hopefully all of these games can be found.